South Africa is plagued by poverty. Instead of having the honest conversations that are going to lead to breaking these generational cycles, we remain hypnotized in the drama and deception of political actors that we've elected into office. Yes, the system needs to do better for the broader population, but there are decisions you can make today that can shift your financial trajectory. On this channel, we talk a lot about making money, generating profits through trading income. But in this video, I want to take you behind the thinking of my role as a paraplanner within the financial planning space, because understanding how money works and how to plan for it is something you need to get serious about like yesterday. My name is Samkelo Mfega. I've been trading for 8 years and I'm a 6-figure funded trader. This is the modern day trader, and if you find any value in the content that we create, please do subscribe to the channel and help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. So after a year in financial planning, I've met clients across the spectrum. Some have 30,000, others have 200 million. But I think the underlying motivations are often the same. They want to take care of themselves and their family. They usually want a roof over their head, and in most cases, they want to own it. They want to educate, their children or their grandchildren, or even, further their own studies. And those who can afford to want to travel, start a business, and, treat themselves. And more often than not, it's usually in that order. But I think the point I want to illustrate is that financial planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for anyone who's trying to live with intention. And I guess when you start living with clearer intention for your life, you begin to prioritize that which matters, and you focus a lot more on achieving stability, creating options for your life. And those who have achieved some sort of financial success can tell you that those are the things that you begin to focus on and work towards, instead of the shiny objects that we often see on social media. So at first, I honestly thought that some of my wealthier clients were boring, because if I had even 50 million, bro, I'd be in a GT3 living in a 6-bed in Havervale. Like, there would be signs. But then you look at the drawdown rate on capital each year, how lifestyle inflation actually eats away at wealth. You realize that being boring is a luxury. It's actually a strategy. As a young investor, or just an average South African working towards retirement, drawing down on nothing, or at max of your life, 5% each year on your nest egg, is what you should ideally aim for. And I think to put this in a bit of perspective, when thinking about retirement, which is something we don't often speak about because it seems so far away, but it's usually closer than most people think. You try to achieve some sort of replacement ratio, or you look at your retirement assets with the replacement ratio in mind, in that if you're currently earning 30,000 now after tax, then you think, what portion of my retirement assets can replace that income on a monthly basis and sustain me over the portion of my retirement, whether that's 10, 20, 30 years, depending on what point you want to retire at. But thinking about it that way just helps you, one, achieve a number, given that you know more or less when you're going to retire. So if that's going to be 60 or 65, then will 30 or 40 or 50,000 last me for 20 years? Or do I need to work harder? Do I need to save more? Or will I need to push my retirement up till 70, 75, which is what we're seeing now, so that I don't run out of money by the time I can't work anymore, or just want to live my life. So if you're young, or at the point of still building your asset base for retirement, be boring, at least in the ways that help you save money. You've got time, you've got energy. The clubs aren't going anywhere. The holidays, the vacations aren't going anywhere. If anything, because of how the hospitality industry is developing, those experiences are only getting better. And yes, life is for living, but there's trade-offs to every decision you make. The cars, on the other hand, are going electric, so maybe the petrol heads have an argument here, but I'll leave that one up to you. What this has also made me realize is that there's privilege in being boring. I think many of us, Black, colored, Indian, don't have the privilege to walk to work towards, a better financial future without thinking about black tax and the implications of that. When I think about black tax, I think about it specifically from the perspective of previously disadvantaged individuals in South Africa, because yes, to some degree there is white tax, but you see that come in at a much later state of, an individual's life, where, a mother or father will have saved for retirement, but maybe they haven't saved enough, and so they have a little bit to last them for the first few years, and then you see in the last 5 to 10 years of their life, normally when they're in a retirement home, medical costs start to ramp up, then the kids who are already 40, 50, even 60 sometimes, have to step in and help their parents throughout those final stages of retirement. That's what I'm seeing, at least as white tax. With black tax, that process starts from as early as your first paycheck, sending money home every month, at some point becoming the breadwinner of your family from a very early age. And it's that, and understanding that most of the wealthy clients that we deal with aren't first generation money. They're building on a foundation that was laid decades ago, that has kind of given me the perspective and has almost changed how I see my role and our broader responsibility as this generation in the decisions we need to make with the doors that have been opened for us, because our parents, our grandparents literally fought for us to be on these platforms, to have the knowledge that we have today, the knowledge that I'm hopefully imparting on you, to have the work and access to the kind of industries that we work in today. They open that door for us, and so it's, whether you recognize it or not, a responsibility that's been placed on all of us to break certain cycles, to lay certain foundations, and that comes with some degree of sacrifice. This access to opportunity has allowed us financial freedom that a lot of our parents and grandparents could not enjoy, and not enough has been done for, again, the broader population, but we're in a much better place, whether you like it or not. I personally would rather live in current modern day South Africa than South Africa 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And because of that, it's a response. You can look at it as a burden, a responsibility, whatever. And you can accept it or not, because you don't have to. But I guess my personal experiences and what I'm learning have almost given me this perspective to dial it back and be boring where I can, because I'm in a privileged position to build something much firmer and much longer lasting because of what my parents, my grandparents, what they've done to allow me to live this life. And so I owe to them, as well as the future generations, to create something even better. And that's something that you need to think about personally, and that may or may not contribute to the decisions you make and the actions you take in the life you want to live. But that's just to give you perspective on how I think about, I guess, why being boring and creating a legacy is really important for Black South Africans. And so if I bring this back to trading is a high income skill, but financial planning helps you align that income with your broader life goals. As a trader, you need to think about managing income volatility, because not all months are going to be the same. Like the past 2.5 months for me personally have been drawdown, and so that is something any trader can go through. So what you do with the revenue from trading when it is coming in, how you protect it, grow it, use it to build longer term wealth, is something financial planning helps you do. This goes hand in hand with planning for tax obligations and structuring your asset base so that it is tax efficient. And I'll be honest with you, I love trading. I love this game, not just because of, I think, the earning potential that it gives you, because you can really make any amount of money that you need. The work I do as a financial planner is how I build on top of a firm financial foundation for myself and my family. Trading is how I make money. Financial planning is how I keep it. And in this video, I wanted to share why I believe financial literacy and financial planning are essential, I think, not just for traders, but for anyone who is trying to build a life of, again, intention and stability. And I think this is just the beginning. I want to share more on this, so expect more of this kind of content that feeds into our channel as we kind of open up more to what we do on a day-to-day basis outside of trading. And again, if you found any value in this, please do like, subscribe to the channel, help us reach that first 1,000 subscriber milestone. And remember that consistency is the choice you make when you start doing the things you know you should be doing day in and day out.